we've been blessed with good weather up to this point. It could have we could have had a foot of snow on the ground by now. So it's been actually a little nice that it chilled out. But
well, we were at the Lake of the Ozarks over the weekend, and the leaves were absolutely phenomenal. I can't even remember a year where the leaves look so pretty against the blue sky and the water. So we're blessed to get down there to winterize and take advantage of the view while we were there.
Yes, we did. So today we can't move on too much further without thanking our veterans out there. It is Veterans Day. And of course, the amount of courage and sacrifice and leadership that our veterans put in to our country is just insurmountable, and something that I think a lot of people take for granted. So we do appreciate everyone out there who has served our country in some way, shape, or form, and take our hats off to you and celebrate your time and attention to our country. So thank you. And, it's interesting. Last year, this time, Kelly and I were coming back from Houston. We supported the PTSD Foundation of America last year very heavily. And we're down there for their biggest event around fundraising. And PTSD Foundation actually deals with the war veterans who have been through hell and back, like quite literally. And it makes me even tear up thinking about it, because the stories we heard of these veterans what they went through. Yeah, you hear about it, you see it on the news, but there was a gentleman that had just come into the camp, as they call it there, at Camp PTSD in Houston, who has suffered PTSD from some pretty gruesome outings, just to put it bluntly. And he was rucking back and forth up and down the street, and in full gear, full equipment, going back and forth pacing. And that was his way to help process the trauma that he had been through. So when we talk about trauma, half of his infantry was killed. People were missing body parts coming back from some of these missions. And we actually sat down and talked with a number of them that had suffered from this silent killer of PTSD, and the amount of sacrifice that they put in. It's much different. I mean, everybody deals with a lot of trauma throughout their life, but just to hear these stories of what they went through, how they've overcome. And the PTSD Foundation, if you haven't looked into them and helped them out with sponsorship or funds, they do some amazing things for our veterans. One last fact that I'll leave you with is that about 80% of all the homeless in Texas have some connection to the veteran community if they're not a veteran themselves. And that's why this foundation was built up 10, 15 years ago, is because all of these veterans with PTSD who couldn't function in daily life basically were left out in the cold, quite literally. So fantastic organization. I know there's a ton of veteran-based organizations out there, but just interesting that literally 12 months ago, we were coming back from Houston just a couple days before Veterans Day. So thanks again to everybody who has sacrificed and put their lives out on the line for us. So Kelly, Jen, do you guys want to talk a little bit about last week? We had some pretty interesting leadership stories.
Pretty cool. Yeah. We have incredible nuns who are active teachers in our community, and they've done tremendous things in regard to advocacy and education and diversity and inclusion and just so much. It was really cool to hear the impact that they've made, not only here in the United States, but in Rome and internationally and with our government. And it was powerful. So
it was. And I love that when I walked into this, I was kind of like, okay, what are we going to learn? Because
I know.
The nun thing threw me off. Right?
I was actually taken back because you were like, well, I didn't know if you guys were leaders. But then you were like, yeah, they actually are.
I mean, they, what was interesting was they're so well-traveled, so well-versed, and they were very diversified in their leadership style and their background. So I got a lot out of that episode. In a lot of these episodes we have with these guests, you come in with preconceived notions of what they'll be like. And I have been really, I've had to re-educate myself on, you can't do that, because many times I'm taken aback by the end result. So it's been a fun journey from that standpoint. And they were fantastic guests, and they truly love what they do. And they're so proud of their organization that was founded like in the 1800s. So
yeah, she took us through the whole trajectory, the whole history. It was really cool. And just, all of the knowledge and how they've been able to grow and they're
Yes.
still so focused on their mission. It was really cool.
Yes. And you're going to be the keynote at their event.
Yeah, in 2026. So
what month is
March
it?
2026. I actually mentioned your name. our guest sitting next to us, because he's a huge philanthropist. I was
Yeah.
like, they're currently looking for sponsors and so forth. But yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
I'm excited.
They were fantastic. And
yeah, there's like 600 people that attend that event.
yeah, it's a big one.
Really powerful. They actually provide all the tickets for the luncheon for free, just to try to provide hope and inspiration and more visibility to the Sisters of Notre Dame. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So thank you, ladies, for joining us last week. And we are going to take a moment to thank one of our wonderful sponsors, Bethany Shell from Edward Jones. She has been with us for a couple of months and will be a guest of ours toward the end of the year. I think she's the last guest of the year.
I think so.
On December 30th. So Bethany Shell with Edward Jones. When you're choosing a financial advisor, Bethany believes the first question is simple. Does your advisor take the time to really listen? Your goals, your family, your future, it should always be personalized, because financial planning isn't just about numbers. Life changes, and so does your financial situation. That's why Bethany partners with you every step of the way to help keep your strategy on track. And if you're brand new to investing, that's actually the best time to start. Bethany uses an established process to create a personalized strategy backed by advice, tools, and resources designed to help you reach your goals. You'll always have access to the information you need when you need it. Bethany says true wealth isn't about hitting a magic number. It's about having financial strategies that support a life you love. You can count on her to help you achieve what matters most, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. Contact Bethany today at 314-648-2020. This is a paid-for ad by Bethany Shell, Edward Jones, member SIPC, excuse me. Word salad there. Sorry.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I could have never nailed that.
So thanks again, Bethany. She has a freshman at Liberty, and we have a freshman at Liberty High School. So it's kind of cool to see people coming from the community, and you just find out you know each other and you're in each other's backyards. So
That's awesome.
yes, thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, we are on to our segment of Ask and Elevate. And our question comes in from Chris out of O'Fallon. I'm assuming that's O'Fallon, Missouri, maybe O'Fallon,
Never
Illinois,
know.
not exactly sure. But his question comes to actually a pretty interesting one. So how do you stay motivated as a leader when progress but not seeing the immediate results expected?
I can start. I'm happy to start. Sure. I think, quick wins are great to keep you motivated. Just look at the smaller kind of micro wins, if you will. We've talked about that a lot on our shows. And sometimes you have to just kind of get those little check marks or those boxes checked to feel like you're making progress, even if it seems slow. And then another quote that we had from Suleiman, who was here, the most difficult path is the way. I love that quote. And it's from some kind of philosopher, and he kind of summarized that. But it really does take that long path sometimes to get to the end result you're fighting for. You just have to keep that in perspective along the way. That's what keeps me going in some of these larger initiatives in life, or you just have to keep those perspectives in mind.
I actually put that out as my grit tip of the week. So I think like the power of tenacity is really what you really need to hold on to when you're not seeing those results, because sometimes the obstacles or the excitement fades and you just have to stay consistent and you have to take those big leaps, but making sure that they're in the right direction, because whenever it's weary or the pauses, that's when you need to refocus and really understand your why. So that's funny because that was my grit tip of the week.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And, I think maybe I look at things too metric based, but you have 3 jobs in a company. No matter what you do, you're either reducing cost, you're either avoiding cost, or you're generating. I think one of the biggest lessons I had way early in my career when I worked for City Mortgage, our president was like, how are you making loans today? Didn't matter what you were doing. If you were in IT or ops or originations, the focus was extremely clear. And I think part of helping people through times of slowness or where revenue might take a long time or cost avoidance is helping people connect their jobs to how they affect one of those 3 things and celebrating that success. And so taking these macro goals and breaking them down into weekly or bi-weekly steps and just helping them celebrate success. not in a forced family way, but maybe in stand-ups and, you know, talking about successes for the week, helping people break their goals down. But a lot of it comes back to, at least for me, very early on, was how do I affect the intake of more mortgages and revenue for the company, even though I worked in IT and operations. And that was a big switch for our teams, as that president helped people connect that in town halls and break that all the way down to, you know, at that point, me being an individual contributor. And so since that point in time, for me, it's when time feels, when progress feels slow and difficult, it's how do you break down those macro goals into these micro kind of stages and activities that people can associate to. So I don't know, Jim, I think you might even have, we'll introduce Jim here in a second, but Jim, you got a perspective on that?
Yeah. So I've been through that a lot in my 27 years as an entrepreneur. And I think one of the best things that I had a coach teach me was a 3-2-1 journal, and journal every day. Find 3 things that you're thankful for, 2 things that you're excited about, and 1 win for the day. And your win for the day could just be getting out of bed if things are really tough, but it's a win and you got to celebrate those things. But it's amazing when you start that journaling process, what you're thankful for. And you look at when you started what you're thankful for, and when you're 6 months in, how deep dive you really get into what you're thankful for. And I think that can really help somebody that's struggling through when they can't see, because you're in the forest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just got to plow your way through the forest and find the simplest little things to be thankful for that will help you get through there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We heard Oprah speak at a conference a long time ago, and she had, talked about gratitudes and doing daily gratitudes. I think it was maybe 5 a day. And one thing, she's like, I have a new bar of soap. I'm excited. I got a brand new fresh bar of soap. I mean, it was little simple stuff like that, but it was just something that kind of got your mind off of the negative and really appreciate what you have in life and just refocus every day, So I like that advice that you gave.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Chris. We ate the question. Hopefully that advice from us 4 helped you out a little bit there. Just a reminder, if anyone is looking to send in their Ask and Elevate question, you can do so via our Gmail, which is,
Elevate
and lead
info at gmail.com.
gmail.com.
This is what happens when you're not here for 2 weeks,
I know.
Mike.
Come on now. Wake up. Where's that
Gotta
coffee?
get my brain moving. You can also find us on LinkedIn at Elevate and Lead at Lou Info, and drop us a direct message that way, which has been popular. So encourage you all to continue to submit those questions, and we'll do our best to get them on the air. So with that, we are going to actually officially introduce Jim. And Jennifer, why don't you take us away on that introduction?
Yeah, so I'm thrilled to introduce that voice, Jim. He is actually one of the authors in the Successful Entrepreneurs with Grit, and he was recently one of the nonprofit sponsors at my gala as well. He's super active in this community. So this is Jim Adolphson. He's the CEO of Adolphson. I'm butchering it. Please help me.
Adonis,
Thank you. Adonis, ITAO, a waste recycling for technology. This is a company that helps organizations securely and sustainably recycle technology. Now I'm the one stuttering. Okay, we got to stop that. But I totally butchered your intro. Please give me more information to share with our audience who you are and what your company does.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Adonis, ITAD. We're an IT asset disposition company. So we help companies in their sustainability when their technology has become end of use to them. It doesn't mean it's necessary end of life, because you could have a large corporate company that uses a specific type of computer or server that can help a smaller business that can't afford that new, but can afford it on the used market that still has life to it. And so our goal is to repurpose first, recycle last. More energy is put into building these new products. More oil and more gas and water and trees are used to when boxing and all that comes into play, that we first try to find a new life for it. And we do it all with a philanthropic spin. So we try to help you be green and philanthropic all in one spot, because I'm a big believer that we got to build back the communities in which we live and work. And we can do that by recycling our electronics. And so it's been a pretty blessing from God that we've been able to do and make an impact the way we have in the community. So
I love that you show up on both full picture. Not only can you recycle the products that businesses can't utilize, but you can also repurpose them for those that can't maybe afford, the right off the shelf item. And then we were talking behind break, and I'm actually going to go Christmas shopping for my boys. I think it's phenomenal, but I love the way that you, instead of just trashing it, you find another way to recycle and give back.
yeah, absolutely. And when we recycle, we're still pulling precious metals out of that. So, the boards and all those computers have gold and silver and palladium and all that stuff. And so we have a contract with a smelter that actually pulls all those precious metals back. And so we can stop going to Mother Earth and constantly stripping her of all these things. We can repurpose all that. I always joke that when I retire from this business, I'm going to go buy landfills, because only 25% of all e-waste globally is recycled.
Really?
75% is still hitting the landfills.
Wow.
Huh.
So think of all the precious metals that are in those landfills. And instead of going and stripping it from the earth, why don't we go back into those landfills? And I know it'd be a nightmare because of everything that's happening there, but there's so many precious metals that are encased in all that stuff that's in the landfill. So
That's interesting. So you literally take that asset coming in and strip it to multiple reuses. It reminds me of like a tree company who can come in, they cut down the tree, they take the tree, they repurpose the tree, they put some of it to a mill, some of it gets put into firewood, some of it gets mulch, some of it gets reused. It's very much a full circular life cycle of how you're trying to manage that asset versus just bringing it in and getting rid of it. You're repurposing it, recycling it, and putting some of that back into the life cycle of a new product. I assume.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
And he's such a forward thinker. I remember having a conversation with him before you gifted me an opportunity to be interviewed on KMOV. And you were like, yep, for my generational wealth, I'm going to plant a bunch of walnut trees on my property. Yeah. And I was like, that's such a forward thinking mindset. I just love that. And it makes me wonder, like, how did that mindset, where did that mindset get shaped from? How did you end up landing into this role here?
Oh, man. I'll tell you a quick funny story. My parents moved to the lake shortly after I got out of college. And, my mom has us all come over. I was a baby of 6. So there was a basement full of junk, and my mom's like, I kept this from you when you were in first grade. But I'm like, throw it in the trash, throw it in the trash, throw it in the trash. And 3 years ago, my mom shows up to my house at Christmas with this bag of stuff that she went into the trash and pulled back out. But one of the cool things was, I don't know if you guys remember, like the Scholastic magazines that you get as a kid. When I was in 3rd grade, I had filled out this form. I wanted to own a farm and I wanted to be a business owner. And it was so cool to finally look, I appreciate her digging through the trash because when you look back, I'm like, I had just bought my farm in 2022. I had it for a year when she gave that to me. And I was a business owner. So, to say that it happened back in 3rd grade, like, you really didn't know what you wanted to be, but looking back on it, I've achieved the things that as a 3rd grader that I wanted to do. And so, how you get here is just, I think it's hard work. Some people say I'm lucky. They're like, oh, you're lucky. But you know what? I work 24/7. I don't take time off. It drives my wife crazy. Like, we were just on vacation this past week. We're fishing. I jump on my phone. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was just sitting here and I had an epiphany of how I can do something different at work. And I'm taking a quick note so I don't forget. She goes, do you ever shut down? I'm like, I don't. Like, she always says I'll never be able to retire. She's like, because you're going to go crazy if you retire, because your brain is just always going. So I'm hoping that, maybe someday I could be a coach or something and help other people, strive to achieve their goals that they want to.
That's awesome. And I noticed you have a degree in hospitality and business management from Southwest Missouri State, or MSU now, right? Because when I went there, it was MSU. Yeah. So how does that transcend into the recycling business?
I think the college degree helped you understand like principles and basics, but the hospitality side, just the way you treat people. If you're out there and you're a good, kind, hardworking person, people are attracted to that. It's funny when I travel, whoever I'm traveling with, it doesn't matter where I end up. I see somebody that I know and somebody will come up to me and they're like, oh, Jim, like I haven't seen you in forever. And like, everybody. And I think a lot of it is, you're the baby of 6. So, you get a reputation whether you want it or not. You know what I mean? Like I remember teachers in school, they're like, "Oh, you're a little Adolphson," and I'm like, is that good or bad? You know? So, but I think I was elected to the president of my fraternity as a sophomore, which was kind of unheard of. And so I had upperclassmen that just showed a lot of respect for me because I was just that type of person. And I think it was the networking between the fraternities and the sororities and that whole Greek life that really shaped who you are. You just have to go out there and talk to people. Like, you know, if we're out at a restaurant or at a bar, somebody buys me a drink, my wife's like, "Did that guy just buy our drinks?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I don't know. I walked up and said hi to him. He looked like he was having a bad day. And I just asked if there's anything I could do to help him. And he talked to me for 5 minutes and he's like, man, you made me feel better. You made me have a perspective that what I'm going through right now isn't as bad as what I thought it was." And so he bought our drink. And
You're giving me goosebumps. You always show up for everybody. Oh my gosh. And I love the fact that you are you have a giving mindset with all of the work that you do in the community and how you support so many different nonprofits.
man, I think if you help people get what they want in life, things are going to come back to you tenfold. You know, that's been out there in a lot of books, but I'm living it because everybody I see that's struggling, I just try to, even if it's just a voice for them or just a lending ear for the day, you know, they remember that. You know, there's that old saying, people remember how you made them feel. You know what I mean? And if you made them feel good, they're going to remember you. And if you treat them not so good, they're going to remember you.
Right.
So I want to be on the good side of that. So, you know.
Yep. So the golden rule, right, is treat others how they want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah, for sure.
It goes a long way.
Yeah.
So maybe real quick before we dive into a couple other questions, then how did you get into Adonis and IT data management, disposal, and e-recycling? Just how did that happen? When did it happen?
Yeah. So we'll be celebrating 13 years in December next month.
Nice.
It happened 12 years ago. I had another previous business that I was in that I sold and got out of and semi-retired at 41 as much as I could have. But I was driving my wife
I'm
crazy.
ready to do that. I'm 41.
Yeah.
I was driving my wife crazy on what I wanted to do. And me and one of my fellow parishioners were coaching the kids' soccer team. And he mentioned that somebody else was using this IT guy to do some work. And he had just started a recycling business. And he goes, he's looking for business development people. Like, why don't you go have a conversation with him? And I went and had a conversation with him and started doing business development, working literally for free. He was paying for my gas. He's like, you lay in the account, you get a percentage of it. You know, it was
Sure.
Eat what you kill. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he had made a few, what I think, bad business decisions. And so I'd pass him a note. And finally I passed him a note one day and he's like, we need to have a conversation. I told my wife, I think I'm getting fired tomorrow because I think if I'd passed this guy one too many notes. And he's like, I'm a tech guy and I don't like dealing with the people side. I need somebody like you that is comfortable talking to people. And
We'll have to take a break here in a little while.
Oh, you're good.
So,
Keep going.
yeah.
I'll go quick. And
Okay.
so next thing you know, he offered me an opportunity to buy into the business and I bought into the business and here I am 12 years later. So
That's fantastic. Great story.
Yeah.
And very, very motivational, I think, for a lot of people to just see you traverse different sectors and different opportunities. So we'll be right back after this short break and a little bit more information on Jem, and we'll dive deeper.
Hot spotlighting the people and ideas reshaping how we work, lead, and live. Back to more of Elevate and Lead with Jennifer Bardot, Kelly Chandler, and Michael Chandler on the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
Welcome back to Elevate and Lead. We are going to continue the conversation with Jim from Adonis here shortly. But first, we want to thank one of our wonderful sponsors, Merrimack Pools and Outdoors. Another summer has passed, but imagine this, your own backyard oasis. A pool where the kids play, a fire pit for cool nights, a patio perfect for hosting friends, the kind of place where memories are made. At Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, they've been bringing those visions to life for over 25 years. Family owned, St. Louis proud, and trusted to design and build the ultimate backyard. And it's not just pools. We're talking full outdoor kitchens, sport courts, fire features, and smart pool technology, LED lighting, spa integration, and more. From concept to completion, Merrimack Pools and Outdoors handles it all. Here's the best part. Free consultations, financing options to fit your budget, and every project backed by a lifetime manufacturer's warranty. Plus, they're licensed, insured, bonded, and based right here in St. Louis. So if you're ready to stop dreaming and start building, head to splashstl.com. Right now, when you order your package, you'll receive a free salt cell. That's a $2,000 value included. Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, making your backyard the place everyone wants to be. Visit splashstl.com today. Thank you, Merrimack Pools and Outdoors, and Brad Burns for sponsoring the show.
And I just want to apologize to Jim for interrupting that incredible story because I thought we were at a hard break. So sorry about that.
Yeah. So, Jim, maybe we can jump back and talk just a little bit about your entry into Adonis, because it started off as really a sales opportunity for you from a business development perspective. No salary, but all commissions essentially, right? So something changed, something switched, and clearly now you've been running it for 12 years. So tell us about that story.
Yeah. So my business partner, and unfortunately he passed away in 2021 to a heart attack at the age of 49. But
sorry to hear that.
At the time, he was a tech guy and he loved the tech side of it. And, he did a few things that I thought, man, I don't know if I would have done it that way. And so I, passed him a little note in a meeting. And after about the fifth or sixth note, he says, "Oh, we have a meeting. We need to have a meeting." I tell my wife, I might be getting fired tomorrow. I might have passed this guy one too many notes. I'm not sure. And he was like, I'd appreciate you as a business partner. He's like, all the insight that you keep bringing is the stuff that I don't want to deal with. And so would you be interested? And so, this business is roughly 90 days old. And I'm like, I'm interested. I'm intrigued by it. But I need to do some due diligence, like any good business owner would. And so I kind of went on the 6-month journey of, is this something I want to put my own money into? And is it sustainable? And can we do it? And so I do a lot of research, just reading articles like what's going on with e-waste out there in the world. And at the time we were just a recycling business. And so I'm standing at a work area one day, and, there was only 3 of us. There was us 3 partners, and we'd have 1 or 2 high school kids that would come in after work, after school, and help us. And I'm ripping apart, we're in 2013, and I'm ripping apart this i7 laptop, and I'm going, what am I doing? Like, I jump on eBay and I'm like, typing in, I'm like, we could sell this for $200. Like, we're changing our whole process here. And so that was kind of the epiphany that there's a lot more money in this business than what we think there is. And so we just had to sit down and brainstorm like crazy. Like, if we can go to companies and offer them value for their retired assets, and so we're going to bring money to them. And then if we could get them to take that money and go with what my internal goals are of, let's go build back the community, help these nonprofits, like that should be a win-win. And started selling that idea. And I met a lady from Bot Radio at a networking event, and she connected me to her friend that was at a big Fortune 500 company here in St. Louis. And I went and made that pitch. And 6 months later, we're handling just their recycling. And a year later, we've been under a master service agreement now with them since 2014. And it's been huge for our mission of donating and building back the communities in which we live and work.
Incredible story. That's fantastic. Because I think the fact that you're taking something that originally was supposed to be just destroyed and thrown away and put in the trash, so to speak, and being able to repurpose that for what you're even saying. In some cases, these assets, whether they're monitors or hard drives or laptops, they're only a year or two old, and their full lifespan could be 5, 6, 7, 10 years old before they really need to be retired.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so they're still fully functioning pieces of equipment that help our 501c3s, and companies have an opportunity to partake in IT. So I think it's great.
I love the point about the precious metals. Funny enough, I bought gold for a while when the gold craze was huge, and I got to test it. And the ladies would come over with all their jewelry. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun and so easy. I'm like, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
So that part is really interesting. And so what are them? And this is a quick question. What are those precious metals, and what is the percentage of the types that you have in these?
They're not a lot.
There's not a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's there. Like,
Yeah.
We fill a Gaylord box. It's a box that's 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot tall, and you fill that thing up with RAM or high grade server boards or whatever it is, but they're all broken out. Yeah, it's definitely
cool.
worth your time.
Yeah. I don't think people think about it from that standpoint. So that was kind of a cool factor of your business, and interesting.
And with gold's at its highest, what's it, $4,000 something a troy ounce, right?
Yeah,
now?
I don't know now, but
it's insane.
Yeah,
it's the highest it's ever been since I've been in the industry. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give a shout out to your wife, because I watch you guys on Facebook, and you're just the cutest couple. You're always together, and she's so supportive of you, and you're supportive of her.
Yeah.
Where did that kind of mindset of, not only leading a business, but leading and influencing your family as well as the community come from?
My wife saved me. I went through what for me was a horrific divorce a long time ago, married for 4.5 years. And I was head over heels in love with my first wife. And one day she came to me and she's like, I don't love you anymore. Boy, like that hits you like a brick wall. You know what I mean? And, you go through these stages of depression and, just this restart. And I was in a bad place, mentally, because we all go through those things in life. And I met my wife, and
she's a doll.
And
she is. She's so cute.
And she literally is my lifeline. Like she changed my world, and I love her every day for that. And she knows that, and she knows where she brought me out of, and she knows I wouldn't be where I am today without her. And I thank her every day for the support that she's given me. And yeah, she's my rock.
And that's your real success behind the man Jim, right?
Yeah.
That's what really helps carry you through, honestly.
Absolutely. She gave me this wonderful son, Caleb, who's 20, and he's awesome. He's a handful. That's a whole nother, how do you lead a family, man? It takes a tribe,
Sure does.
It takes the in-laws and the outlaws and the friends and everybody else, because, those boys sometimes they're knuckleheads, and
they push it to your limits.
Oh, they do. He's a good kid. He's a hard worker. He's in the Boilermaker Local 27 now as a welder, and he's got a very successful career as a 20-year-old. He'll be 21 in January, and I'm really proud of him. But the boy, he tests my patience and and stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? But they say God only gives you what you can handle. So.
I don't know why I landed with 3 then.
Where's the girl?
Oh, I'd be in trouble if I was a girl. I'm too much of a pushover. So
it's hilarious.
Can we talk a little bit about the philanthropy? You've talked about the enormous amount of money that you've been able to put back into the community. Are there certain organizations you want to highlight, or how do you go about choosing which organizations to support?
Yeah, this is a topic that was hard for me to talk about. You know what I mean? Because I'm just a behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
Go give the money because it's the right thing to do. I don't like talking about it. But I had a coach that told me, Jim, you got to talk about this stuff. You're doing so much awesome things in the community. Go talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. I'm like, I'm not the guy that wants anybody to look at me because, he gave money. You know what I mean? I just want to just go do it. Like, I don't need the PR behind it. I'm glad I started talking about it, because I had to get over the fear of how people viewed me, because of what other people think of me is really none of my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I brought so many other people that have been able to make an impact. And there's been more nonprofits that we brought to light that need the support like a safe place. It's a battered women's shelter that we support.
That was the one that we highlighted at the gala. So him and Holly Porter were able to get up on the stage, and his story just, oh my gosh, brought you to tears.
Yeah, like it's terrible what those women go through, and when they end up in that shelter, you know, sometimes they're running out the door with the clothes on their back, and so they show up there with nothing. And so, if we can make a difference, I always tell Holly, I want to be the Santa Claus, because nobody knows Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But to know that those kids know that Santa Claus found them when they weren't at their home, I'm going to tear up talking about it.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like when you see that and you know you can make a difference in somebody's life like that, it's what drives you, man.
Yep, absolutely.
That is wonderful and very heartfelt. And thank goodness for people like you in the community that have taken that success and turned it into something much bigger because of it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I see some of these kids in my brain.
I
You know what I
bet.
mean? And to see what they're going through, you know, we supported a young man through the Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition. He was with a foster family, and we decided, we're going to join their birthday buddy program. And he wanted a gaming system, and I can't remember. Like, this is in 2013. We have no money. We're not making any money. We're a brand new business, not taking a salary or anything. We're like, we're going to get this kid the Xbox, I think it was. And so we scrounged up $250, and then we went on Facebook and we're like, hey, we need another $250 to get this. And we get it. We send it to him. And the young man, through his, he's got drawing a blank. He's got somebody that represents him,
An advocate.
a caseworker, whatever.
Caseworker, yeah.
And she's like, he really wants to reach out to you guys, but he can't. He's a minor. I'm like, it's cool. And they're like, he wants to write you a letter. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, he sneaks a picture into the letter of him standing there with his Xbox, and he sends it to us. And I'm sitting there one day, and this comes in the mail. I don't know it's coming. They said he's going to get a letter, but you never know. You know, it's a 12-year-old kid. Is he really going to send a letter? And he writes this letter, and I open it up at my desk, and I just start bawling. He says, I want to thank you guys. I'm 12 years old, and it's the first time anybody's ever celebrated my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You want to talk about heart-wrenching story, because he's always been sometimes the foster families only have what they have. It's to provide him a safe place. They don't have the extra money to go out and get birthday gifts and stuff like that. And man, that's when you know you're doing the right stuff. Because
Absolutely.
I hope we impacted him for the rest of his life to know that people are out there and they care, and everybody should have their birthday celebrated.
Completely agree. And we take so much for granted. And it's another reminder that, wow, there are so many people that don't have the things that we just think are part of everyday life, and that's a tremendous story. And I'm sure he did impact him for life.
Yeah.
The fact that he wrote you a letter at 12 years old, that's
Right.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just on KMOV last week because we're doing another philanthropic thing on there with the St. Louis Hero Network that I'm a board member of. And Laura was asking me, like, why do you do this stuff? What happens? And I'm like, there's so many people out there that don't have a voice, or their voice has been suppressed for so long that they don't think they have a voice, or they don't have the monetary means. And you got to support those people. We got to find a way. We got to do better as a country in supporting. We shouldn't have to rely on the government to fill those needs. There's people out there like us. You don't need all the money in the world. You don't need all the toys in the world. I'm not telling you not, because I have my toys too. But I also try to give back as much as I can to make a difference out there. And if I can change one person's thought on that, bring one more person to the good side, not that they're on the bad side, but just bring them over to help make a difference out there. I put my head down on my pillow at night and I sleep really well because I know I'm doing the right stuff out there.
Fantastic. Thank you for the information. And we commend you for that, being part of the community, because you're uplifting others in the community so that we can all collectively do better and feel better about our lives. And then, like you said, it's contagious. You start, impacting someone, they might impact another person. So it's a very reciprocal type of, contribution. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, walk on over to the good side.
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for Adonis overall? Let's shift back to the business a little bit. What do you see as the trends and the outcomes, and where your business and others are going? Because data centers are exploding, servers are exploding, technology is exploding. It's not retracting. What's the future for Adonis, and what are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. 2 years ago, I bought somebody else that was in the industry. He approached me. I bought some product from him, and he just was struggling at that point, and said, "I want to sell my business, but I need a job." And him and I sat down. His name's Dylan Pruitt. He's a veteran. I want to thank him today. He's at a conference this week, doing great things for Adonis out there, and hopefully landing some more customers. And I brought him on as my VP. He was that missing piece that I needed after my original partner passed away. And he's now my business partner, and he's awesome. He does a fantastic job. And what I see out there is we got to make a difference. I told you guys before, 25% of all e-waste is recycled. The rest of it ends up in the landfill. How many people at home have a drawer full of old cell phones, or you got the computers in the closet because you don't know what to do with them? You're worried about your data. Adonis is that solution. We're an R2B3 certified recycling center. So we get it on an annual basis by Siri. They come in and they make sure if I tell you I'm taking your computer, and I do my downstream due diligence, and I say this piece of equipment at its end of life ends up here, and we know that they're handling it correctly. They audit all that to make sure. So when your computer comes to us, the first thing that we do is data destruction. I don't ever want to be on the front page of a paper or on the news that I leaked your data. It's a nightmare. It's the end of my business. So we take that very seriously. But one of the things I tell people all the time, your smart TV has your data on it.
Yeah.
You have your
Absolutely, it
Netflix
does.
account on there.
Yep.
How many people use the same password for their bank account that they use for their Netflix
Sure.
account, that they use for this account, that they use for
That's
that account? I
right.
tell everybody all the time, stop doing that. Create a new, create a master sheet, put it in a safe, put it in your safety deposit box in case you forget it, but stop using the same password for everything.
Right.
People go to the hotel and they're like, oh, I'm going to log into my Netflix account. And then they forget to log out,
Sure.
So you got to be smarter about those types of things. And so it's an epidemic. It really is an epidemic. E-waste is an epidemic. And you got to make sure we do our best to be a zero landfill facility. So broken pallets come in. I got a company that mulches them and turns them into mulch. We recycle plastic. The only thing that we struggle with is styrofoam. Styrofoam's a hard one to recycle, but pretty much everything else that comes into our facility, we recycle in some way, shape, or form.
I think I can be a
know
matchmaker. We can hook them up with Terry Moody.
Well, yeah, but even Biospan is a company that creates biosustainable products out of soy, but they also use styrofoam packaging as part of their polymer when they treat asphalt surfaces with soy plus the styrofoam. So connection right there.
That is awesome,
take
because
that
that is one of our
immediately.
biggest struggles. It
Yeah.
really
Well,
is. That we're right
Solutions
there.
been solved
They're
between
just
Mike
down
and
the
I.
road, so to speak. They're in Washington, so a little bit down the road from you, but
That's all right.
down 44. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Anything that we can do to keep that stuff out of the landfill. So,
Right.
Yeah, he uses it for dry packaging. Remember, he was able to recycle it for his
Yep.
dry packaging.
Mhm.
Mhm.
does,
Yeah,
yeah.
Terry.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So we'll have some connections there.
wonderful.
Yeah. So other than that, I see that, we got to just continue to educate people. I was telling Jennifer before, I'm in the process of writing children's books about electronics recycling. So I'm hoping to have my first one is done. Jennifer's going to help me
I'm
out.
going to help him.
Oh,
She's going to help
good.
me. I need to get it published.
Yeah.
But the stories about how Adonis was created, and then I'm taking the lessons that we learned, like, how to be a good person, how to make a difference in the community,
So cool.
how to go after that big white whale that you want as a customer. And, hopefully we get to these kids at a younger age and we can have these books that'll educate them. And so it won't be such a epidemic down the line, because they're going to realize that, people look at these cords on these headphones. There's copper in here.
Mhm.
People throw them in the trash all the
Absolutely.
time. Stop throwing the precious metals in the trash. Find a recycler and recycle it. I prefer that you bring it to Adonis, but if I'm not near you, get it somewhere and stop throwing it away.
Yeah, they'd rather seal the gutters because it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my goodness. You hear those stories on the news. And it's
I
like,
know.
what is going on? But
No.
yeah.
I love that. I think you're going to make a tremendous impact for those kiddos and to actually see what's possible. So I'm very excited for you.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to your help. I know you're going to help me.
Oh, for sure.
She might have a one or two kind of
Yeah, she
pieces
has a
of
few
connections
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some background in that space. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does the average customer get a hold of you, find you if they've got, as we do, drawers full and a closet full of electronics and wires and things like that? Where do we find Adonis? How do we get it to you? And if you're a
Yeah.
business looking for one, call it maybe upcycled equipment or recycling, how do they get a hold of Adonis and your team?
Sure. They can reach us by phone at 866-496-6991 or on the web at www.adonis, that's ADONIS -ITAD.com. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram as Adonis, and you can find us there. But we're out in the communities on the first Thursday of every month, except December and January. We're in Ellisville at Bluebird Park, and the general public can bring their e-waste to us there. And on the third Thursday of every month, from noon to 5, we're in Sunset Hills, and we're off West Watson Trail over there. E-waste to us. We do have a few things that have fees, but we have our fees listed on our website so you can see them. But most everything we take for free. And if you want a certificate of destruction on your equipment, you can pay a small fee and we will get you a certified certificate of destruction on your hard drives. So,
And can people come to your actual facility to drop things off as well, recycling wise?
they can as well, from 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. And we're at 620 Horine Road. That's HORINE in Festus, Missouri, 63028.
Awesome. Well, I would definitely support that. We've got some opportunities to bring some things in and get recycled that we've just had sitting around. So definitely going to take advantage of that, and might come back to you too for just even some equipment. Like Jen said, there's some opportunity for some Christmas gifts or things like that that you guys have access to. So
I'm going to have to get a couple computers for all my gamers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jim, for being our guest today. And thank you to all the veterans out there for the work that you've done and to keep us all safe. And next week, we have Jane McGowan. She is a WBE owner and president of Elasticil of St. Louis. So it's going to be interesting conversations. She is a woman in construction and she is a powerhouse. And she was actually an author in the very first book, Owning Your Grit. So you are listening to Elevate and Lead, and we will see you next week.